Hey everybody, it's John from Seattle Coffee Gear. I'm here with a crew comparison of two Eureka grinders. Today we have the Helios 65 and the recently updated Zenith 65 Neo. Both of these share the same 65 millimeter burrs, but they have slightly different motors and different internals, different interfaces. So I thought it'd be helpful to do a breakdown and talk about some of the differences between these two offerings from Eureka. Most of us know the original Zenith, which is one of my favorite grinders for folks starting coffee shops, or maybe a single group for a bar, a restaurant, or an office grinder. The Zenith 65 is one of my all-time favorite grinders because it's just reliable, great price point, great coffee from it, great speed. It has all the features you need. So this is just a slightly updated grinder. You can see the crew review that we did or will do of it on our YouTube channel if you want to see more details on it. But the original Zenith is one of my favorites. And I think practically a lot of the updates they made to the 65 Neo have made it a little faster, a little bit better performer, while still keeping it at a really approachable price point. The Helios 65 is more of what I would say is Eureka's slightly higher end branding. So this gets a nicer touchscreen interface. And then you have some more programming that you can do if you go into the menu settings here. This might look familiar to the Fausto Touch and Faustino interfaces. I'm at an angle here, so it's hard for me to line up there. But this does have a removable chute for easier cleaning. And then it also has some rubber padding on the portafilter fork to prevent slippage while you're grinding. Whereas the Zenith just has a metal portafilter fork. I might be concerned that this rubber would wear over time. We've had this grinder in our break room for a little bit and we haven't seen any wear and tear on it. So I won't be too concerned. But I know that grinders like the Matzer Super Jolly that come with a little rubber piece on it, that gets lost over time. So keep in mind if you want to keep this on the grinder, it's probably something that's going to need to get replaced over time, but that's not too expensive. Some small functional differences. This does get the nice matching black knob, whereas this has kind of this matte finish, probably aluminum or some sort of metal knob here. The Neo does have a plastic cover for this. So if we look from the side here, we do see there is kind of a difference in the two finishes there, which is something that they did just to keep it at an approachable price point. So I don't mind it too much considering that all things are becoming more expensive nowadays. They also used a plastic chute instead of a metal chute. Like this has a metal chute, and then also it's the removable piece here. Well, sorry, it's a plastic chute and then the removable little metal sleeve. Slide that back up there. Both chutes are adjustable, so it still keeps that functionality, which is really nice on Eureka grinders. I'd say the Zenith feels a little clickier than the Helios does. The Helios feels much smoother, which I think falls into that price point difference between the two grinders. Speed-wise, they're neck and neck pretty much with each other, but the Helios is a tiny bit faster, I would say. The Helios gives you a double shot in just under 5 seconds, while the Zenith is consistently just over 5 seconds, but that's not a huge difference. You can also lock your grind settings on the Zenith, and that's not a function that you have here on the Helios. You don't get a lock function on the Helios. The Helios does give you 3 different grind settings, as well as a continuous run grind setting, whereas the Zenith just gives you the 2 grind settings. The Zenith does have a continuous grind option. If you push and hold, it'll run for as long as you have that held for, and then you release. I've talked about it before in other Eureka videos, but for folks coming to a Eureka from a mozzer or a grinder that you start with a button, it is a little bit of learning because the natural inclination is to push until the grinder starts running, but you just want to click and then it'll start and then click to stop. On the Helios, it should work a similar way. It's been a second here. Sorry, let me reset. Now on the Helios, it does not work that same way. So because we have the continuous run button, we don't have that push and hold for continuous run like the Zenith does. Just small differences in the programming between the two grinders, but enough to make a difference. Let's spin these around because in a coffee shop, most of the time your customers are going to be seeing the backs of these grinders. Clean that off there. So they do look pretty similar between the two of them. The Helios does get this nicer kind of raised logo on the back, whereas this one is more just like a sticker that's on the back of it. So I'd say the Helios definitely looks more premium than the Zenith does, but they both look great next to each other. And you could even go with like a Helios 65 or a Helios 80 and put a Zenith next to it, and they'd still match and look really good on your bar. Spin this around here and spill a bunch of coffee. Reset the time on that. Let's go ahead and now hear these side by side. I'm also going to weigh my portafilter and see how much coffee we're getting out in the time setting. Ooh, that one set a little high there. This is a 14-gram basket, so it's a little bit small. Yeah, it's 21 grams. That's why it's backing up into the grinders, just because this basket is small. That is one thing I've noticed on the Helios is because the grind chute hangs down a little bit lower than it does on the Zenith, it's easier to have grounds back up into that. But if you saw, this was completely hands-free, so no concern there. Do another one to check for consistency. I lost some coffee there, so I'm not sure how consistent that'll be. So 21 grams. So pretty consistent, even though that was not a great test. Go over here to the Zenith. And also hands-free. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but the portafilter was kind of walking around a little bit because it doesn't have that rubber covering. That was 16.7 grams in 5 seconds. And what do we have? 16.4 grams, that same 5.1 seconds. This one might be set a little bit fine because that is a little bit slower than I've noticed on the Zenith grinder. Let's look at the clumpiness. So here we have the Helios 65, and kind of clumping wise, we have some boulders, if you want to call them that, in there. They break apart pretty easily, but it's not as clump free as some of Eureka's other grinders. Over to the Zenith. The Zenith, I would say, is probably a little clumpier than the Helios, but both of them are still really on par with commercial grinders in this realm. Compared to, again, the Mozzer Super Jolly. We did a video of the original Zenith versus that, so check that out on our channel. Get rid of that coffee there. Let's reset both of these. Back to normal. Both of these grinders would make a great fit for any sort of mobile coffee shop or a restaurant with a coffee program or an office with a semi-automatic and a coffee program, or even your home if you don't mind the noise of either of these. I'd say the Helios is a little more pleasant on the noise level than the Zenith. The Zenith is still a little bit shrill, but if you're in a coffee shop, that's just par for the course, so I wouldn't worry about it too much there. Both solid options. The Neo, again, had some updates to keep it at that price point and keep it very affordable. And then the Helios comes in with much more premium looking features. Like this is all metal, which is a really nice kind of curved piece of metal there. And then the nice touchscreen interface, the pad on the portafilter fork. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit nicer looking and feeling than the original Zenith, go for the Helios. Flavor-wise, they have the same burrs, so the espresso from both is going to be very similar. But again, if you just want something a little bit more premium feeling, go ahead and go for the Helios 65. Check out both of these grinders on our website. There'll be a link in the description for that. If you have questions about the video, drop a comment down below. I'll try to jump in the comment section once the video goes live and answer any of those questions. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, see more of our videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day.